for Durham Hospice, Donna, who is the Senior Advisor of Durham Hospice, to speak to our group.
Okay, thank you very much, Pam. It's certainly my pleasure to be here tonight from my cottage, speaking to the group hence the rather informal get-up, to speak to the group on behalf of Durham Region Hospice. Thank you so much for the nominations, and let me just get on with it. So, for those of you who don't know, Durham Region is one of the few areas in Ontario which does not have residential hospice. And residential hospice is a place where people can go when they're at end of life and sort of live life to the fullest during their final days. In August of 2017, the province of Ontario did approve residential hospices for Durham Region, a 10-bed hospice in Whitby, and now a 9-bed hospice in Clarington and an 8-bed hospice in Port Perry, which gives us 27 hospice beds, which isn't a lot, but it's certainly a start, and it's more than we have now. So basically tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Durham Region Hospice Whitby. We need about $8 million to build the hospice in Whitby. The province of Ontario gives us $2 million, and the rest has to be raised in the community. We've been fundraising now for just a little over 2 years, and of course COVID, as everybody knows, has put things a bit on the back burner, but we haven't lost sight of the goal or enthusiasm for the project. We're at approximately 4 million of the 6 million we need to raise in the community. And of the money that we raise, much of the money goes towards, about $800,000 goes towards furniture and fixtures to equip the hospice once it's built. So a donation from 100 Women, Ajax Pickering Whitby, for instance, would go a long way to buying a hospital bed for one of the resident rooms. And so, you know, whether it's a $10 donation, a $10,000 donation, or larger, every donation helps, because this is something that we need in our community. And probably the best way to explain why we need hospice, I'm just going to share a couple of stories. The first is from Laura. She's a 40-year-old young woman, and she wrote to me and said, "Had we had the opportunity for hospice care, I wholeheartedly believe that I would not be living with the trauma I do now, having my mom die at home, with little to no care and no compassion. I watched and helped as I could my young nurse sister, 8 months pregnant with her second, help my mom to death with shaking hands, not because we wanted to, but because we had to. I watched incredible stoicism, but also intense fear. All this was happening while our kids were locked out of the bedroom and in Nana's TV room, distracted, or at school. And when they were at school and it was time to pick them up, we couldn't leave without extreme anxiety and anger. What we experienced for almost a year of dying, but most acutely in the last month, was horrific. We needed a community, we needed support, we needed experts, we needed compassion. Please hear my story and do consider donating to the building of a hospice in Durham Region, Whitby. Cancer has the ability to kill many in its wake and to leave others traumatized for a long time, regardless of one's determination or mental resiliency. I am one of those people." Compared to Sherry, who wrote, "Some of you may know that my dad passed away following a very recent cancer diagnosis. My family and I feel very fortunate that we were able to spend our last days together with him at Hospice Peterborough. It is a 1-year-old 10-bed facility designed for people to be supported at the end of their life. It is staffed by nurses who were so very capable of helping my dad with all that he needed, but it did not feel at all like a hospital environment, and it was entirely free." So residential hospice focuses on living, not dying. as one of our volunteers says, it's somebody's last act. And it's the last act of their life, so why not make it the best possible? When people go into hospice, they have assistance with comfort measures and pain. They have a private room, unrestricted visiting hours, free parking, ability to live freely. Grandkids can come in and bounce off the walls. Pets can come in and be with their master. And so, as Sherry says, there's nothing is easy about losing a loved one. But I would hope that the hospice experience is one that would be available to any one of you who may find yourself in the same position I have been in over the past several weeks. The addendum to Sherry's story is then she just recently found out her father-in-law, who lives in Durham region, has also now been diagnosed with a terminal illness. But of course, we don't have a hospice in Durham region for him to go to. So she is very adamant to support the building of a hospice in Whitby or Clarington or Port Perry. Tonight, as I said, I'm representing Whitby.
Thank you so much,
Thank you for listening.
I apologize, that's your 5 minutes up.
I didn't hear the ding, so I apologize.
That's okay. And we really do appreciate you sharing about the much needed need in Durham for Durham Hospice. I am now